Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But it comes at a price. Samantha Horwitz and John Salerno work with police departments across the country to bring valuable recovery, insight resources, and workshops. A Badge of Honor TV brings those professionals to you so we can come together and revitalize communities through a better understanding of what's at stake and what's required for repair. So take a load off and turn up your TV. It's about to get real.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam, powered by the OBBM network. Man, you can catch us on Roku and Apple TV and all your streaming podcasts. How you doing, Sam?
I am doing great. Yes, every time I watch the new intro, thank you, John Chester, for the voiceover. It just makes me smile. I mean, we had some kind of fun doing all the. We had some antics going on.
It was just all improv, man. It was a lot of fun.
I know. We might have to run a blooper reel on one of the shows when it's just you and I, so people can see how much work it actually takes in the back, behind the scenes to pull this off. So thank you, OBBN, Susan, John, and everybody over there in the studio. John. Another tough weekend, another tough week. I feel like every Monday is just like, hit you in the feels.
Yep. Our men and women in blue are battling and fighting each and every day for us. And, sadly, we're losing lives at an extraordinary rate. The line of duty deaths so far this year are way up. It seems like every time, you click onto a Facebook or a YouTube or one of your streaming pages, you're seeing somebody from around the country who one of our sworn officers killed in the line of duty, either, by the hands of perpetrators or by, a lot of vehicle accidents, doing pursuits and stuff. People don't understand how dangerous this job really is, or they can't really respect the job that these men and women do each and every day. They leave their homes not knowing if they're going to come home at night. And that is the hardest thing mentally to prepare for each and every day for work. I mean, everybody prepares for like, oh my God, did I forget my lunch? Oh my God. Every day on these officers' mind is, will I ever see my house, or will I ever see my wife and kids again, or my spouse again? Will I ever see my family again? Each time they walk out the door and they head to work. So thank you to all our first responders out there who really fight the good fight each and every day, that allow us to put our head down on a pillow at night and sleep safely.
Yeah, this show is dedicated to all the men and women that we've lost just this past week. I mean, we could the whole show could be an entire reel of just names, and heaven forbid we ever have to do a show like that. But you know what? You and I each week we bring a guest on, and we talk the real stuff. I mean, battling mental health concerns in any first responder field, as well as being a military veteran, it's no joke. There are so many organizations out there like us at a Badge of Honor but we can't reach everybody. And when we lose somebody, especially if it was somebody that was like in our town or that we knew, it hits equally hard. And our guest tonight is no stranger to walking that path with a very dark passenger. And she has just done an extraordinary job and created a mission that is absolutely healing, and has gotten connected to like-minded partners like us to help further her mission and, frankly, save the lives of her brothers and sisters. So without further ado, let's bring on Pam Barragan from 2200 Taps. Pam,
Hey, Pam.
welcome.
What's up, y'all? Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Pam was a guest on my other show that we support our veterans on, and for those who are tuning in right now, sit back, relax, because Pam has a very, very powerful story to share. The United States Coast Guard is one of many talents, man. It's part of our military, but it's also, they're really the closest to home when it comes to protecting our shorelines, protecting so much that they are kind of sometimes the forgotten force.
And search and rescue.
Yeah, they go out, they do search and rescue. They get the cartels before they hit the borders. They are the ones out there. I wouldn't say pounding the beat, but they're out there in our water. They're splashing the beat.
I like that.
Keeping us safe each and every day. And people do not realize the lengths they go for and the trauma that impacts them as well.
Yeah, Pam. So tell everybody watching and listening on the favorite podcast app a little about you.
Wow. Well, thanks for having me again. It's such an honor to be here. I love y'all's mission equally. And John, I've had you on my show. Sam, yes. I can't wait to get you on. My story goes way back. That was a blessing of a teenage pregnancy. Mom was 16, dad was 18. He wasn't really around. And my story is really it's out there in depth. If you're interested, it's on our podcast in the earlier episodes. But I grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas. My house was very chaotic. And we had to stay in the house with my grandparents and cousins and an abusive uncle. And it was very noisy, but it was very verbally abusive, very sometimes physical. And I thought arguing at a dinner table, no matter where we went, was normal. I thought growing up with chaos was normal. I thought going to school smelling like secondhand smoke was normal. And turns out it wasn't. And Mom, it took her 14 years to get her master's, but she did it and finally got out of the house when I was about 14. She kept me busy, and that's what kept my butt out of trouble. She kept me really busy, and I played softball. I made a pretty good name for myself in high school. And then I went to college, and my college story is nuts, and that's how I landed in the service. So I don't know if we want to go there just yet, but it was a wild, chaotic. There's a lot of childhood trauma, to say the least.
Nobody wants to grow up in an abusive family. And, that sometimes we don't have that choice. And as a child, our minds can't process the trauma that's coming in. And it hits us later on when we realize, hits us on later on in life that, wow, that wasn't normal. That's not how it's supposed to be. And then we get all this stuff like self-guilt and blame and shame, and all this stuff starts entering our body. And if we do not have a strong support network, it is really hard to break out of those ACEs, if you want to call them, child's trauma. So it is a blessing, like you said, you're a childhood blessing, that you have come this far, that you have, brought yourself into a direction of healing and not despair.
And it's funny, John, that you're bringing up ACE, right? It's that score for your childhood trauma, 1 through 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I think John Deloney, I follow him. He says anything over 4 is not good. And I've taken the test, and I'm at a 9.
Wow.
And I'm like, damn, what does that mean? And that doesn't even touch the military stuff. The military just exacerbated it was bananas.
It's like John in our workshops talks about how not only do ACEs impact your life, but especially if you're in the service related industry, military or first responder. I mean, we do these things because sometimes of the way that we grew up, so that other people don't have to experience what we did. For you in your military service, did you choose the Coast Guard? How'd you get connected there?
So it's kind of funny. Growing up in Corpus Christi, Texas, I used to see the Coast Guard helicopters flying around.
Oh yeah,
there's an air station. I always see these orange helicopters. And even in high school, I remember I was like, I want to do that. That looks fun. Didn't know what it all came with it. But I remember I was like, I want to be a rescue swimmer, because my teenage brain thought that'd be like the easiest job to do. But instead, I got a softball scholarship to play at UL Lafayette. Or I got recruited by Texas and UL, and I ended up going to UL back in 2000. Wow. I'm aging myself. Yeah, I was a catcher.
Nice.
The problem was I was a horrible student. I hated school, absolutely hated school. So much so that when 9/11 happened, I was asleep in my dorm. And I woke up to the aftermath and didn't even know what really happened until I went to practice that afternoon. Which God's got a funny sense of humor, because that came full circle for me a few years later.
Yeah.
But I ended up, my coach had a come to Jesus moment with me my second year, and she's like, listen, you need to quit or we're kicking you off the team. Because it was bad, dude. Like, my GPA is horrible. And I was like, all right, I'm going to quit. Found myself back in Corpus and itching to be part of something bigger than myself. And an uncle who was a veteran at the time, he's like, what about the military? I was like, nope. I didn't want to go to boot camp. I was scared. And finally was like, you know what, maybe this could work. So I went to the Coast Guard recruiter's office, mostly because I love the water. I wanted to help people. That was it made sense to me back then. And the rest, I guess you can say, is history, right? I ended up enlisting in 2003 and did 11 wild years, 12 really, but 11. Changed my world, changed my life. If I wouldn't have enlisted or done any of it, I wouldn't have anything I have around me. What you see, this house, my community, these opportunities. Coast Guard was wild.
It is amazing the doors that get open when we are still enough to listen. If you guys are just tuning in, we are talking to U.S. Coast Guard veteran Pam Barragan. She created an incredible organization called 2200 TAPS. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll get right into what 2200 TAPS is. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Forget Zoom, try Meetin. Meetin is a brand new video meeting service. And not only is Meetin simpler and easier to use and more powerful, Meetin also has the right values. Here at Meetin, we believe in freedom. We believe in privacy. We believe in America. And we are apolitical. Now, to get your free forever version of Meetin, just go to Meetin.com, spelled this way. And then where it says promo code, type in the word special. That's your promo code. Okay? So go to Meetin.com, type in the word special, and you'll get Meetin free forever. I'm Rick Raditz, and I look forward to serving you as a customer of Meetin.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV, powered by the OBBM Network with John and Sam, and our very special guest, U.S. Coast Guard veteran and softball player. I want to give that to because it brings me back to celebrity softball. She was on the team at celebrity softball, and Pam, did you play catcher in that game?
Yes. Yes, I actually tell TK I'd rather be a catcher because you won't see me running much these days.
Okay, so for everybody that's just tuning in, you guys went way off in a tangent in a field called celebrity softball. Yeah, we will be talking more about the celebrity softball throughout the year. But Pam, they bring together veterans, John, and just real quick, what is this celebrity softball so that people can be on the lookout for it?
Well, Pam, you wanna, because you played in that and you were picked, and Tim picks a lot of TK picks all these veterans who are either disabled, wounded, a lot of stuff with the Wounded Warrior Project, and those who are battling mentally, and he gives them a platform to come out at this great event and network on the field and play a game that they love, right, Pam? Yeah,
with a bunch of celebrities. Could be A-list, could not be. And it's just once a year we come together to raise money for veteran and first responder nonprofits. And Tim Clunn is a veteran himself with the Air Force. We just hit his 10-year anniversary with this game. They've had Matthew McConaughey before. We've had Michael Irving. I mean, Roger Clemens. I mean, you just never know. You're rubbing elbows with Terrell Owens was there this past year.
Yeah.
And there's thousands of people in the stands.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of people, quite a bit. And the good thing is all the proceeds that are raised go back to like the Adaptive Training Foundation, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point, and some other, organizations that are near and dear to our hearts for sure. So it's crazy what happens there. We go a little crazy with Yeah, we were talking about it earlier.
Party.
It's pretty fun.
It's a party. I got to meet TK, and he told me a little bit about the weekend. But anyway, we'll be talking about that later on through the year and how people can.
Yes, definitely come, guys.
But talk about your organization, because 2200 Taps, Pam, you go on the website 2200taps.com, and we learn a little bit about you, how music has helped shape your life, but not only your life, healing, and how you're integrating everything to help veterans. So how did you decide on 2200 Taps?
So funny story, because it's always a funny story, right? I went to school for music, and in one of my classes in music business, and we had to find our brand. And part of finding the brand is going back to our childhood, and there's a whole lot of really cool science behind it. It's really, really cool. And what made me was my story. And I'd already been toying around with the name 2200 Taps for a while, because I had this idea of opening up a gym for veterans, which kind of came full circle at the, now that we're talking about it. And I had nothing to give my instructor. And I'm like, you know what? 2200 Taps. I'll figure out what it is later, I knew what the name meant to me, though. As far as a mission, I had no clue. And I was a guest on a podcast, kind of like now and previously. And as an audio engineer, I'm like, it can't be that easy to run a podcast. And this was before COVID. This was before everybody made a podcast, right? So I'm like, I want to do that. And I wanted to put music to people's stories as a musician. But before that happened, I started bringing on guests, and it was more about them sharing their stories of traumas and tragedies, but how they've been able to overcome it because somebody needs to hear it. And truthfully, because somebody shared their story through music with the lyrics, that helped me take suicide off the table back in 2014. And it stuck, and it became a really cool mission that just evolved into more. And it's been fun. It's been real fun.
Yeah, from interviewing John, and having him on your show, and I watched it, everybody's real, just like we are here. You just mentioned, suicide and taking that, that option off the table. Can you walk us through a little bit of that?
Sure. So with the childhood trauma, which that was buried deep, y'all, like buried, very deep. Back in 2012, August 10th, I worked a very bad search and rescue case that just tipped me over to no end. It lasted about 48 hours trying to, recover a couple of bodies that the divers ended up recovering. But what ended up happening is I took all that home with me. I didn't decompress. My boss gave us the option to, and I'm like, we're good. I just chalked it up to it just being our job. I hung out with the second guy that they found. I hung out with his body for a few hours. It didn't bother me. Well, what bothered me were the screams. And once I started decompressing and just kind of like, oh, this happened and this happened. And living with my best friend at the time and her family, I made the mother-son connection when I got home to them. And I lost it, crying, nightmares. I developed a fear of water, after that. Fear on pools, large body of waters. Just a bad spiral. And then I could no longer serve in the Coast Guard due to my injuries. And I remember taking, and not by choice, and I remember taking 5 shots of Crown one night and digging a fork into my left hand just so I could feel something. I couldn't feel anything. That was before the shots. But I remember taking those shots, and then at one point I grabbed a knife. And I went to my room, and I grabbed my uniform, and I just took a knife to my uniform. I cut out my name tapes, and all in front of my best friend. So much so that the knife broke and it dug into I still have a scar on my left ankle. And I ended up checking myself in the hospital that night. So there was that. And then my grandma, there's some family drama there. Then I had a falling out with my best friend. And then, I lost my identity, no longer being able to serve. I was homeless there for a few weeks. It was just like one thing after another. And I remember crying to my mom. I'm like, I just want this to stop. I want this pain to stop. And it was very real for me. And it wasn't until somebody posted about a training here in Dallas, because I was up in Chicago, that she was like, if you want something different, I got something for you. There's a little more on how that happened, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And I'm like, all right, I got nothing else left to lose. And I went through that training, and 2 years to the day of that search and rescue incident, August 10, 2014, graduated the training and took suicide off the table.
Wow.
Life-changing, yeah.
Well, thank you for being open and sharing that with everybody, because, the three of us together, we believe when you share, you're talking to a camera, but you're talking beyond that somebody is relating to your story, and hopefully is ready and to get the help. And so thank you for that. If you guys are just tuning in, we are talking with Pam Barragan. She is a U.S. Coast Guard veteran, runs an organization called 2200 TAPS. I want to, when we come back from our next break, John and I want to get into the music part of how you use music to not only to tell people stories, but to help heal. We'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam and our very special guest, Pam Barragan from the U.S. Coast Guard. And, before we left, we were talking about how we talked a little bit about your story and your childhood traumas, but how the healing process started to work with you is through some music. Music, and we talked about this, Sam, on the last show, and it seems like this is something that a lot of people are focusing on, but they just don't know how to channel it like you did. And music plays a large role in everybody's life. I mean, we look at Jelly Roll, right, who came out with that song, I Am Not Okay. And you wonder and you go, man, that was powerful for him. But that healing message that he puts out there, and it impacts so many people. And Pam, you're doing the same thing with your music. You're bringing this out, and that's what 2200 TAPS is bringing about, is the healing through music that identifies with you, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, initially it was, as a musician, as a guitar player, I wanted to put music to people's stories. I wanted to write songs. And before that could happen, like I was saying, the podcast took off. But with that said, we just wrote a song, me and a buddy of mine, about my story. It's really cool. Really, really cool. I can't wait to let you guys hear it. But ever since, going back to the childhood, it was so chaotic. And my grandma bought me my first guitar when I was about 5. And it was just like the yelling and the screaming. Like my mom would go to her room, I'd go to mine and listen to music on the radio. And I forced myself how to learn to play those songs by ear on my guitar. And essentially that guitar became my best friend as a kid. And as chaotic as the house was, music actually made people smile and laugh. It calmed it down too. But grandparents are dancing, mom's singing this. So it's kind of ironic, but ever since I was a kid, music's just it's had a stranglehold on my soul like nothing else. I love everything music. Ask any of my friends and family that know me. Music is my everything. But with that training here in Dallas, they used a lot of music. And it was like listening to the words of the song kind of thing. I'm like, okay, as a guitarist, I'm more about the melody. I don't care about the words. Never paid attention to the lyrics until that training. And then I'm like, dang, like there's other people that go through this. There's other people that are hurting. And it just made me more self-aware of what people are really trying to tell you through music, aside from the melodies. It's powerful. It's so powerful.
There's different genres of music. I always listen to music when I work out. Other people are like, oh, no, I can't listen to music. I listen to podcasts. I'm like, I don't know how you hear while you're trying to, get through a workout. So you have music that can like drive you, through a hard workout, which, at Adaptive Training Foundation, that's
that's all we do.
And then what you said, John, what you said about Jelly Roll, and Pam, what you said about, the lyrics, and it's like you have that, oh dang, somebody's going through what I've experienced. Politics aside, whether you're a fan of watching the Super Bowl or not, I am not a fan of Lady Gaga's politics, but I will tell you that song that she played last night on Bourbon Street, they closed the daggone street down. That was like hang on a minute. This girl's like singing from the depths of, she kind of knows what the heck's going on. And it just made me stop. And, I had dogs running around and all this. And I was like, oh my. She was singing to all of the first responders, to those veterans, to anybody that is suffering out there. And it was a connection. It was a connected moment. And you could feel it through the TV.
Yeah.
Just gonna say that. So,
Pam, is that something like you do, is analyze the songs? Like when you hear them?
I mean, look at me, guys. If you can't see me, I'm like tearing up over here. Because here's the thing, right? And it's kind of, I didn't talk about this. I touched on it. My best friend and I had a falling out. And when I was spiraling, right? In 2004. She didn't even talk to me for a year. We reconnected after my training, and we've been solid ever since. This is 11 years in the making.
Wow.
And I'm tearing up because that song you're talking about, he's not only important to me and literally my other half. She's in a tribute band in Chicago called Beyond the Blonde, which is a tribute for Lady Gaga, Gwen,
get out,
and Pink. And the song "Hold My Hand," when she sings it, it's just another. And I've said, they're beautiful the way that they come together as a band, but her vocals on that song specifically just like melt me. So it's funny you're saying that. And and it just made me tear up because I'm thinking of like, damn, dude, like she's the one that saved my life. She's the one that I wanted to come to the training for, just with hopes that I could like salvage a very important relationship.
Yeah.
And she's the one that ultimately saved my life.
Well, God bless your friend, and I'm glad she's out there singing and doing that tribute stuff.
Oh, she's killing it, man.
Yeah, and that's on your website as well. So again, 2200taps.com, and it's Beyond Blondes.
Beyond the Blonde.
Beyond the Blonde.
It's a tribute for Lady Gaga, Gwen Stefani, and Pink. Yeah. Hey, Chair. Nice shout out for you there.
Hey there. That's what it's all about. And healing, as we know, the three of us can collectively agree that it's a personal journey that is ours. And whether that is on the couch or out in a kayak or through music or through art or through running ultra marathons, more power to those folks. Whatever it is, it's your journey. And it's allowed to be their journey. And the whole message is just come back, right? Just come back and then pay it forward.
The one thing I really love about 2200 Taps and what you're doing, Pam, is, when we look at the modalities of if you go sit on a couch with a therapist and they tell you to journal, right? They tell you to throw up all your traumas onto a thing, but you don't have to make sense. You kind of took it to like that next level, where you turn around and say, you know what, throw up your journey on a paper, but now let's make it make sense. And let's end it in a chorus of healing. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm just thinking about, all right, so when you're journaling, you could just drop and no rhyme, no reason. But now you're taking your brain to a different section, and now you're structuring it and you're putting it into your own personal storm. I love it. And I love how that all plays in this whole healing journey for all our, veterans and our first responders or anybody who is battling a mental health crisis.
Yeah. And it's pretty special. the most recent song that we wrote was about my story, and it was with a really amazing musician, Jeremiah, and it hit my gut. Just saying some of this stuff, and then I love structuring it, I love producing, but to do my own song, like Jeremiah really nurtured the process. And I really want to take it to another level, like continue to like take these stories, these interviews that we've done, and create songs. And if we don't, that's okay. The podcast in itself is its own musical journey.
Mm-hmm.
With these stories. John, like my guests have been rock stars. You didn't have to come on the show and just be so transparent about what broke you, you didn't have to do that. Every single one of y'all have done that. And kudos to you guys, man. Y'all have like really made the show what it is. I'm just like asking questions and guiding it. It's turned into
learn, but that's where we learn, through people like you, Pam, and through the Badge of Honor and a multitude of other speakers and individuals out there that are willing to be transparent, they're willing to share their story. Because once again, like the shirt says and everybody else says, you're not alone.
No.
There is somebody out there walking beside you each and every day that is feeling that same pain or a level of pain that you guys can share together and get it out. And that's where the healing begins, and it's, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's right there. It's at everybody's fingertips, and all they have to do, the hardest part is just opening up.
Just acknowledge it.
What'd you say?
Just acknowledge it.
Just acknowledge it.
Just acknowledge it.
Yes.
It's not working. It's not working.
Yeah, it's true. True.
How did you feel when you heard your song?
When it was complete?
Yeah,
dude.
Like the first time you heard your story to music.
Bananas. Well, the thing is, like, Jeremiah and I were working on it together as the musicians, but Jeremiah, you know who Aaron Watson is? He's a Texas country artist.
Mm-hmm.
So he's buddies with his drummer, Nate. Well, Nate put drums on the track. He hired a hired gun guitarist who's a shredder. He's amazing. Jeremiah sang on it. I played rhythm guitar on it. And it wasn't until I saw because they had a showcase at a movie theater, with how it all came together. Man, when I heard it and I didn't have to worry about the musician cap, I heard it as the listener. It was.
I'm feeling it, and I don't even know the song yet.
I know. We need to get that out there, get the link so we can throw it up on our websites and share it on all of our social. Well, and we got to take another quick break. When we come back, let's talk about the podcast, because we want definitely to connect folks with the podcast. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back with Pam Barragan.
Leftovers again? It's time for something we haven't had in a long time. It's time for something right. It's time to make the right choice. OBBM Network TV is always the right choice. Choose right.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam, and our special Pam Barragan, U.S. Coast Guard veteran, and taking things to a new level with 22 taps. 2,200 100 taps. Sorry,
like 22 taps. That's just too many. That's too short.
That's too many. 2,200. 2,200 taps. Healing through music, and one thing I found. Like I love to edit videos, and I find that even the creative aspect, something I've never been really good at, really helps. That it helps your internal self-esteem. It brings you out. So I'm sure the music does the same for each person, and you're going to channel that to make that person find it. And that's what I enjoy about everything about 2,200 taps.
Yeah. So the podcast, tell everybody watching and listening on the favorite podcast app. I mean, what are the kinds of stuff that you cover? You have people that come on to share their stories. Who is your best kind of ideal guest that can reach out if they're listening?
Honestly, I vet all my guests because I want to make sure they're ready to share. If they've recently gone through the trauma, it's not fair to them. You know, and that's why I hate when people interview people and they see Trump. What did it look like? What happened? It's like, dude, stop making them relive this, you know? But people that are really ready, because if I get people on that are not, and it becomes a persecuting, it's his fault, it becomes a Jerry Springer show, as my buddy Josh Graham likes to say. And it's true. You've got to get people. My ideal guest is like you, John, you know, and Sam, like you, like at some point, somebody who's been there, who's lived I can't curse, who's lived the hard stuff, and has come out on the other side, or, you know, in a place where they feel like they're ready to share.
A comfort zone.
Yeah, because people want to know how you overcame it.
Absolutely.
You know,
that's how you navigate the path and not fall off the path. Yeah.
How did you do it? And notice I never say get over it. It's not, I want to punch people in the throat when they say you just got to get over it. Like, that's not fair, dude. So how did you get through it? How did you overcome it? What worked for you? Because what's happening for me is not working. And that's what we're looking for, you know? And I've had people try to sell me stuff. Can I promote my stuff on your show? I'm like, no. Can we talk politics? No. Because I want to stay in our brand, in our lane. Yeah. Because that's the sweet spot, man. You deviate from the sweet spot, it turns sour really fast.
But you keyed on one thing when you just said what works for you, right? And that's very important to bring out, because everybody is individual. You know, some people really love couch therapy. Some people like writing songs. Whatever it is that makes you feel gets you on that healing path. It could be sewing or knitting or drawing, or there are so many different outlets. And if it works for you, keep trying until you find one that you fit in with.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I've done it all. I've talked to therapists. I've done EMDR. I've done a whole slew of things, and they've helped. However, the one thing I did in May in Boston with another organization was like, it was exactly what I needed. And that was, hold on to your seats, because I didn't even know this was a thing. Virtual reality re-exposure therapy.
Yep.
Virtual reality, what was it?
Re-exposure
therapy. Yeah.
So you're reliving your trauma in a very controlled environment, and at some point you're going to be wearing some virtual reality headpiece.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man.
I know.
How was that? I need to hear a little bit more about that. Do you have a minute on that?
Yeah, if you have a minute, I've got a minute.
Yeah, Sam, because I never heard about this, please just share a little bit about what this is.
Yeah, so what it is exactly what it sounds like, right? However, with the organization I went through with Home Base, it was 2 weeks. In the morning session with your group, you go through all the education stuff, why we do what we do, what PTSD is, some breathing techniques, all the tools and stuff. And at some point, you're going to be doing 45 minutes of exposure therapy, like on a cell phone or whatever that would usually tip you over. Well, there's Boston Harbor, so I'm just going to go sit outside for a little bit.
But
it's
water a trigger for you now?
It's better now since that. But we're being monitored. It's very controlled. We're talking through it. They're not leaving us in it. So it's like a process. And now comes the VR with my social worker. She's like, are you ready? Like, do you want underwater or on a bridge? Based on my trauma. I'm like, I'll do underwater. I have the fishies on my screensaver all the time at home. I'm good. Yo, as soon as she turned on the system, I didn't even have it on my head. She was just holding it. She fired up the system, and immediately we're underwater. But the way it was facing.
So you're looking up?
I'm looking up, like I'm underwater and I can see the surface. I started freaking out. But the minute she had it facing out and down, I was fine. But as the minute she tilted it back up, I'd freak out again. And she's like, what is that? And I was just like a ball of mess. I was crying. I was like, can't breathe. Just all this stuff started coming up for me. And then she got me to work through a lot of my stuff to the point where I could put it on at least for like maybe a minute if I could tolerate it. And she had me look around. I was good. Look down. I was good. I look up and I'd freak out. And by the end of my second week, she had me to where I was wearing it for a solid like 40, 45 minutes and I was fine.
Wow.
I was looking up and she's like, what do you see? What does it look like? I'm like, oh, it looks like clouds. Like,
That's amazing.
Like I got to the point where I was able there's so much more with the classroom work and all this stuff. And that's what I needed.
Yeah.
And what I realized then, remember how I said I'd go out to the harbor?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I'd look at the water, I'm always looking at the water line down. I'm looking for bodies. I'm looking for issues. I'm looking for any kind of like somebody's in distress. But after I had my breakthrough with that, I went back outside to re-expose myself. I was looking at the water line up for the first time in I don't know how many years.
Wow.
And I could breathe. And I'm like, whoa, this is different. Looking at downtown Boston, I'm like, whoa. And I processed everything that I needed to. And that's because I had an EMDR, couch therapy, you name it, breath work. And it worked. But I needed that one last push. And now I'm not afraid of water as like I used to be. There's still a fear, yes. Not like it used to be. And I'm planning to go wake surfing with the guys at ATF now.
Oh, that is great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is fantastic. We're going to take our last quick break. And when we come back, you everything you're talking about water, we got to talk about the movie that's on the website.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned.
Rise and vibe with your new elevated morning ritual. Meet Rise by Frequency. Frequency-charged nutrition. Rise is formulated with a blend of 7 different organic mushrooms, B vitamins, amino acids, and green coffee bean extract. Rise supports brain health, performance, and focus while enhancing mood, mental clarity, and energy. Enjoy the delicious mango lemonade flavor while giving your mind the nutrients it needs. Get charged up with Rise. Fuel your body and mind today.
All right, so we talk about it every week, Rise and Vibe with me and John, and it's easier than ever. Go to abadgeofhonorhealth.com. We've got packages put together for you. There is no sugar. It is keto friendly. I use this, my pre-workout. It gets me through my workout. I am in the zone, and it lasts all day. So if you drink coffee, try Rise. I'm not saying not to drink coffee because, hey, girl drinks coffee, but Rise is a great addition. There you go. And John drinks coffee to your day. So Rise and Vibe with me and John, abadgeofhonorhealth.com. Hey, that rhymed.
Hey, there you go.
I just made a lyric.
You're a poet. You're a poet.
With that commercial. But okay, so Pam, 2200tabs.com. People can go to your website, find out more about you. They can check out the music. You have your friend that's in Chicago, her band on there. There's another band, but you have a movie, a short movie on there that you did. And you know, the last segment that we were talking, it almost reminded me of not necessarily the script of the movie, but the way that your chief in the movie was talking to, or the character, which now having you on the podcast, realizing it's you. So see, if you watch it first and then Pam, you see Pam, you're like, oh yeah, that's Pam. So your story is played out in that short clip or that short movie. And it's just so powerful. There's so many takeaways. You said you had 15 weeks to shoot that? That was quick.
Yeah. Well, I went to school for film after audio engineering, and it was our project. We had to come up with a script, vote on the script that we want to do, and within 15 weeks, vote on the script, raise the money, film the movie, edit it, push it out, all that, find locations. It was very exhausting. And we only had a group of 4 of us.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a group of 4. We had a lot of help, but ultimately in the classroom, it was only 4 of us. And this little group of 4, they outshined, and they brought help. Couldn't have done it without them. I love them still to this very day. They're such amazing people.
Well, it is an incredibly powerful film, and definitely worthy of some sort of film fest to open the dialogue.
Yeah.
To get people talking, because again, it's like, you know, John's shirt. You realize you're not alone. That everybody in the film had gone through something, and they either talked about it or waited to talk about it, is passing on information, how do I get help? And so you at the end of the film, you're like, all right, no excuses, go. And so
I just queued it up on my other computer.
yeah, well, that's it. So everybody,
damned if I do, right?
not right now when we're done tonight, the show, or after the replay, tomorrow, go to the website again, 2200taps.com, watch it. And then, like Pam realized after you cut up your uniform, it's like, okay, I need help. Let the movie push you if you need a push. There's so many organizations and therapists and places that, whether you get it from Pam's website or you get it from ours, get the help that you absolutely deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I could speak on that real quick.
Heck
So
yeah.
we titled it Damned If I Do, because I know I didn't, like, when I was in service, I couldn't talk about my stuff because you could be subject to discharge if you're mentally not fit for duty. Even still, police departments, there's police officers that they're not going to ask for help or go get the counseling because they may get relieved of duty or whatever. You're no longer fit for duty.
Yep.
So that's where that title came in, hence like the storytelling. And I changed the story a little bit based on what actually happened to me. I changed it a little bit for the story, but the gun scene, just all the nightmares, the scream, going back to school, all that's very real. And yeah, it was just, there's some storytelling aspect to it, but it was very real. Like this is very real for me. That was my apartment. That apartment scene was my real apartment. That was my real couch. The gun, I mean, we weren't supposed to use real bullets, but we did.
Well, the real bullets were in the sink, just to let everybody know there's no violence.
They're in the sink.
We're not in the gun.
But I will tell you that the music, actually, of the film, I got approval to use a band that is the song that opens up our podcast. They let us use one of their songs. Matthew JC with Operation Rock the Troops, JC All Stars. I got to use a lot of their songs. And it was nurtured by ATF, One Tribe Foundation. Like, I got a lot of, like, all these nonprofits just like, yes, make the movie. We support you. And it was just really cool from start to finish and absolutely exhausting. Absolutely. But absolutely worth it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very proud of that film. We need to shop it around. And, let's do something with it. So,
absolutely. It's phenomenal. So again, 2200taps.com. You can get everything on Pam's website. Pam, where else do you play on social media? Where can people connect with you?
Instagram is my primary platform. I do have a Facebook. I don't really get on it, but Instagram is where you'll see a lot of the stories, the posts. My Instagram's kind of turned into a mini ATF Instagram. It's kind of funny, but it's a lot of what's helping me along my journey. So you'll see a lot of like really cool stuff with them. And then, editing podcasts and stuff like that. So it's a mishmash of exactly what we've been talking about all night.
And it's 2200 Taps on Instagram?
Yes, ma'am. 2200 Taps on Instagram, 2200 TAPS.
All right. And our new puppy isn't cooperating too well tonight. So sorry about that. And then you keep mentioning ATF. For all of our law enforcement listeners, they're like, ATF, that's what we used to call alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, which turned into BATFE. Too long to spell that out. But it's Adaptive Training Foundation.
Yes, it's a good ATF.
Yep, Carrollton, Texas is where their HQ is. And explain that, why I mute myself.
Yeah, so the Adaptive Training Foundation, I don't work for them, but I volunteer with them. I've been doing it since I went through my own journey 4.5 years ago when I started with them, and I've never left. But it's a gym for disabled veterans and civilians, whether you're born with it or not, any traumas and things of that nature. They hold a 9-week redefined program. And so it's not just for anybody. You have to actually apply, and they interview you. And if you get in, you get in. It's available nationwide to everybody. And if you get picked and you don't live in Texas or around, they'll fly you in, put you in a hotel, train you for 9 weeks, go on a class trip, do all the ins and outs at no cost to you, not even a penny. The only thing that you'd pay for is maybe like dinner here and there, but even then you get fed at the gym. And it's David Vabor is the founder, and that's his passion. And oh my God, he was in the NFL. He was the last pick in the 2008 draft, deeming him Mr. Irrelevant. And then he started his rookie season for the next 4 or 5 seasons.
He is anything but irrelevant.
He's anything but irrelevant.
Yeah.
Got severely addicted to painkillers and opioids after his shoulder injury. Spiraled, hit rock bottom, and went to rehab and got himself back on his feet. And it's really cool how ATF started. It's really, really special. And he's still there. He's still there showing his face and loving on us. And it's just him and Sarah, his bride, and their children. I mean, what's cool is his kids don't look at any of us differently because we might be missing arms or legs or in wheelchairs. Like these kids, they don't know any different.
Yeah,
and
it is amazing.
A magical place.
It is amazing. And again, your website, 2200taps.com, they're on that website. So Pam, this was an amazing time with you. Thank you for just being open and putting it all out there so people can really connect with you. And if you want to be, if you have a story, you've gone through trauma, but you've come out the other side, get with Pam. Because her podcast is incredible. Listen, of course, but maybe you're, a veteran or a first responder that has a story and can shine a light on your hardship, but the healing and help others.
Yeah, I'll take anybody willing to share. I've even had an 8-year-old at one point.
Oh, wow.
It was, but I mean, his parents were there. His mom was there, of course, but it's pretty magical when. It's just cool, man. I love what I do. I love what I do.
That is.
Thank you for having me. It's been equally pretty amazing and awesome to connect and just share and listen to you guys do your thing and watching y'all do your thing. It's pretty rad. It's pretty rad.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and we will definitely stay in touch and be in touch very soon. And just you are such a light. That I think people can grab onto when things get dark. Just to remember that you have created music to stories and made those stories and made the people in those stories matter. So folks, you matter. Pam can help you out. We can help you out. We're one big collective helping out family.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So Pam, thank you so much. We will be in touch.
Absolutely. Bye guys. Thank you guys.
Pam. Take care.
Oh, love it, love it, love it. This
She's
is
an amazing woman.
And it's just the way that you heal through the arts. It's just different, right? And we're gonna get a link, and we'll put it up to to her song, so we can continue to share Pam with certainly everybody that tunes in each week here and that follows us on social media. We've got a huge thank you, actually 2 thank yous. Carry the Load. We are chosen, a badge of honor is chosen as a nonprofit partner for year number 3. We cannot thank them enough. They give back so much to the veteran first responder and families of the fallen to really make a difference in the lives and help us and our missions reach more. So we have to thank Carry the Load. You'll be hearing more about them as the fundraising for Memorial May kicks off. But hey, if you want to support right now, go to a badgeofhonor.com. A badgeofhonor.org. I'm dating ourselves. Just like I'm thinking health.com, a badgeofhonor.org. There's a blue donate button. Just click on that. $36 gets a first responder all the way through the workshops, but donate what you can. Every penny is greatly appreciated. We've also got on there our March peer support. We've got a 4-hour, if you're in Texas and you're in law enforcement, you know what TCOL stands for. It's a continuing ed for law enforcement. 4 hours of TCOL credit. This specific training will be led by John Edmondson, who is part of not only our board, but our mission and what we do, as well as Jeff Freeman. He is part of the peer support team at his police department. This is everything from, what do you do right after a shooting or a trauma at your department. And it's very different than the traditional CISM. So we've got a wait list that you can get on because the class right now is full. We will open some additional spots, but jump over to abadgeofhonor.org and apply for that 4-hour peer support training. We also have to thank Rick from Meetin. He was our first commercial. Hey, if you want Meetin for free, MEETN.com, and put in the promo code special, you'll have Meetin for free. Way more powerful than Zoom. And that being said, our platform is going to look a little different and is going to change starting next week. So please bear with all of the changes. We are over there supporting Meetin and supporting Rick and everything that he does to support us. So be on the lookout for that. For all of our first responders out there, you have got a community of prayer warriors that want to see you come home safe each night. So we are up every morning saying prayers for your safe return. Thank you for what you do, keeping our community safe. To all the veterans out there, thank you for fighting the good fight so that John and I can do a show like this every single week. This country wouldn't be a country without you and your sacrifices. To all of our active duty personnel deployed across the globe. Yes, they are continuing to be deployed. Don't let mainstream media tell you anything different. They're out there. We love you. We support you and your families. Thank you for keeping our shores safe. John, take us home.
You said it, Sam. Just keep all of our first responders in your prayers. Keep their families in your prayers. And when you see one of these heroes out in the street, just say thank you. Till next week. Peace.
See you next week, everybody. Take care.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBM Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBM Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.